Asta, thank you for joining me today. I know obviously the Shooting Star kind of award is a recognition of your career so far, but they try and choose a kind of film to focus on, which is the Hypnosis, of course. I saw it recently. It's a wonderful piece of cinema. One of my favourite films I saw last year. It's such a great role for you to get. I just wondered, when you're at the kind of still relatively early stages of a career, how relieving and joyous is it when a script like that comes your way and you know you've got a character with that much complexity?
I mean, I mean, it's. You're completely right. It was absolutely for me a dream part, because it's like, and for me an actor's dream to be so free. And to only work with just freeing your impulses, which this character very much does. So yeah, I'm not sure. Whenever those kind of scripts, I mean, of course they're rare, but they're out there, and I believe absolutely very much now in Scandinavian films that there are a lot of new directors who's really interesting, and yeah, I'm looking forward to work with more from my generation. Yeah.
And with this character, she she'll just say what's on her mind, which I just absolutely love. Do you think there's a little bit of her in all of us? Do you think we all kind of want to be like her in some ways that we just aren't?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And I think very much that Ernst and Masted, the scriptwriter and the director, that they wrote themselves in those characters and in my character very much. And like they let their fantasy go wide and see where it took us. Yeah. So absolutely, I think everybody has a wild side that we kind of puts a lid on. Yeah.
And with you mentioned sort of Scandinavian cinema. I mean, Scandinavian cinema has always been, or Scandinavian art really, in terms of TV and film, has been such a shining light in Europe over the last kind of 2 decades. I mean, beyond that, but like, you know, it's always been such a kind of huge part of, I think, it's sort of storytelling in Europe. Why do you think, or what do you think it is? What's the strength of Scandinavian storytelling? What do you think gives it that kind of universal appeal, and what creates such wonderful movies and TV shows?
It's a big question with a lot of answers, I think. Of course, it's something cultural with a lot of, like, if one person does it, then another one can follow. But I also think that because Scandinavia is known for its very social democratic welfare system, so it has created a very solid ground for a lot of artists to stand on and to try out, like with the drama schools and free education and stuff like that. So that's not to be taken for given. It's very very much one of the reasons, I think. Yeah.
And I mean, some of the great Scandinavian cinema has come from your family. I wondered, obviously, was it something that you felt when you were very young? Did you spend much time on set, and did you decide quite early that you were going to kind of go into the same industry as your parents?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because when I was a kid, I grew up thinking that when you become an adult, you become an actor. You work with film. That's what you do, right? So for me, it was like, yeah, of course, I'm going to do that. And then I had a period in my teenage years where I was like, I'm not going to go into this industry at all. And I tried to resist it, but then I really feel at home on sets and in the theater.
Did you have a backup career in mind?
Backup career? No, I worked a lot in schools before I went to acting schools, and maybe maybe I become a teacher. Yeah.
And I mean, your sister was a shooting star, and we were interviewing her. We were in the same way we hassled you yesterday at the casting. We were hassling your sister at the casting. You know, sort of, was it 3 or 4 years ago? I guess it was now. Did you speak to her when you got the call to say you were a shooting star, to find out more about that sort of information about what to expect and stuff like that? And what sort of advice did she give you?
Yeah. Of course. We talk about it a lot, and it's so crazy that we both are. I think none of us had ever believed that. But yeah, we talk to each other a lot about the industry and give each other tips, and yeah, absolutely. It's part of our lives, so why shouldn't we? Yeah.
And I mean, I'm looking ahead to some of your other kind of projects. Is it families like ours? That's a really great kind of show. What can you tell us about that so far? Have you finished shooting that one yet? And again, you were sort of talking about great storytelling. You're working with some wonderful actors and actresses and that and stuff like that. Can you tell quite early on a shoot that you're working on something that you think is going to be quite good?
I can tell if I'm working on something that I think it's funny when I'm happy. I don't mean like I think it can be difficult. Absolutely, at times it should be difficult. It should be struggling. But when it's joyful and playful, I know it's going to be something at least interesting and good. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And with the hypnosis, could you tell it was going to be funny in the script? Because it feels like when it's written down, it could almost be like a sort of quite intense. But the way it's performed and the way it's acted, and sort of like the directed as well, it's got a really light kind of edge to it. How do you tell when you get a script what the kind of the tonality will kind of be? Can you tell quite early on what the kind of director wants?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This script was so much fun. I laughed when I read it. Yeah. So I think Mass, the screen, and Ernst who wrote it, they were very inspired by like sitcoms and old comedy shows. So they really had that comedy thought into it, and then of course they wanted to make it more dark and more. So it is more satirical in that way, but. Absolutely, I think you can. Script is everything. You can read it. Absolutely.
And did you have any say in what the karaoke song would be? Did you get to have any contribution to that?
Yeah, I chose it. Yeah, I did.
That was in my head for like 4 weeks after that.
I know. I love that song.
Yeah, it's great.
It's yeah. We had another song in mind, and I said I cannot dance to this song. Yeah. I don't feel the groove. And then Anne said, "Okay, make me a playlist of songs that you want to choose, but they have to be cheap because we don't have a lot of money. So no, like Rihanna or stuff like that." So I just chose an old Swedish song that I danced to in my teens. Yeah, and that became that one. Yeah.
So just my final question then is if you were doing karaoke as yourself, what's your go-to karaoke song? If you were to go to karaoke tonight in Berlin, for example, or Monday night after the party, what would you choose?
Winner Takes It All, ABBA.
It's one of the greatest songs ever written.
Right?
It really is.
Yes.
Yeah. It truly is. It almost makes me cry. Thank you so much for speaking to me today. Much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey you guys.
Hey you guys.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys.
Hey you guys.